Greetings, it's your brother teacher Aja Movement Kafele, my fight for justice in the name and will of Allah. God is worth dying for. And today we want to talk about Xylitol. They say an article came out and from a Cleveland Clinic study, and it's been running wild through the media, as you can see here, talking about Xylitol is increases risk of heart attack and stroke. Okay, and an interesting thing about most of these articles that I look through, they don't talk about the amount that was used. So let's look at that because that's very important. Because number one, I'm just not a huge fan of the medical industry at all. If you study any of the history of it and what it's done and what it continues to do, it has no record of healing the people, and it's always attacking, finding ways to attack natural substances that can be very good for people or misleading in the headlines to scare people. And then you might go to the doctor or whatever, and you get this fear. And here's something that nature has provided, or Allah, God has provided through nature. It can be very beneficial for your health. And so xylitol has been known to be very beneficial, but now they want to run and talk about a heart attack risk. Well, let's delve into this because it's very important of the validity of what they're saying here to understand it a little bit deeper. So to start out with, understand that xylitol has a lot of benefits, and here's an article that actually referenced the article that's running rampant in the headlines, right? And the article that right here it is running rampant in the headlines doesn't mention the amount of xylitol, and that's very, very important because it's already well known to not use excessive amounts of xylitol. But if you're using, just like a lot of things in life, a lot of herbs, a lot of whatever, you can't overdrink water, right? So it's very important the amount that is being used before you start just labeling something as being wholesale no good or beneficial, or writing those headlines. Honestly, the headline should have said something more like excess xylitol or large amounts of xylitol could not be very beneficial, which we already knew. Those are the study, but they didn't say that because that doesn't grab headlines and that doesn't do the thing that they want to do. And so I would venture to say that if they're talking this down about xylitol, because they did this with vitamin D3 as well, and vitamin D3 is extremely beneficial, well established beneficial. And what's not talked about is you can take 10, 20,000, 30,000 units and be fine. But most doctors will have you 5,000 units, and you probably need at least 10,000 units just on average on a daily basis, especially in climates where there's not a lot of sun. So be that as it may, here we want to understand that. So he talks about some of the xylitol benefits here. Scroll down, and he talks about its well-known benefits for glycemic index. Insulin production is lower with sucrose due to slower increase in plasma, blah, 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 and increased safety. Interestingly, xylitol may affect non-enzymatic glycosylation. Bone strength increases. And I can tell you this bone strength is great. I had a fractured jaw 35 years ago, and for I don't know, the last decade or so, it would be shifting or whatever. And since I've been taking about 8 grams of xylitol daily for the last probably 2 months now, within 30 days it started stabilizing my jaw. So I know that the bone strengthening is something that is definitely that it does. So it talks about bone strength, increased skin permeability decreases, skin collagen production is increased. Xylitol is not unexpectedly used in cosmetic industry. Up to 20 grams are well tolerated. Higher doses will lead to more bloating and loose stools. So these things are already known that if you're using over 20 grams. So the thing about the study is this study was not mentioned is if you go down here, he talks about how that study was right here. Finally, 10 human volunteers showed up upon an oral challenge of 30 grams of xylitol. You're already using more or taking more than what is well known above toleration. So 30 grams of xylitol is usually ingested by a portion of a soft drink with artificial sweetener. They don't name the drink, of course. They clearly increase platelet reactivity as early as 30 minutes thereafter. Well, you're using too much xylitol. So for you to run an article and say that xylitol increases heart risk, well, you really should be careful, more specific with that, because you're running headlines to draw people away from the huge and massive established benefits of xylitol. These benefits, as you can see, are helping with diabetes, and they're running these articles trying to scare people away from diabetes, who are diabetic, cardiovascular disease. It helps with. These are studies. This is not my personal opinion. Osteoporosis, the bone strengthening, anemia, dermatitis, ear infection, otitis, I think that's how you pronounce that, inflammation, cancer, respiratory infections, and so forth. So tremendous amounts of benefits. So to run headlines scaring people with an increase in heart risk is just so the established medical industry, right? So I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you any type of medical advice. I'm just going over the details of this article and what it's talking about and how it's not breaking down and sharing things. And somebody needs to put this out there and address this. I know there was one article where a doctor said that there wasn't even a clear established link. The way they did the study doesn't quite establish that xylitol is the cause of what could potentially increase cardiovascular risk. Because mind you, nobody had a heart attack. They just saying that certain factors that they have determined increase cardiovascular risk. So nobody's had a heart attack, but they're making it seem like you could have a heart attack if you do it. You're increasing blood clots. You know, it is what it is, but I just wanted to make people aware because I've talked about xylitol. Xylitol is great. It's awesome. People should use it. There's great benefits, and just use it in the proper moderation, and you will see great benefits from it. So with that, we'll wrap it up, folks. Just wanted to say you got to look into these articles and things that they put out here, you know, especially when they're addressing herbs. And even they try to put xylitol as a, you know, combined with an artificial sweetener. It's actually a natural sweetener. Our bodies naturally produce small amounts of xylitol. There's xylitol in foods like I think cauliflower and lettuce, some berries, right? So this just to me looks like another industry attack on a growing trend in xylitol. I like xylitol from the birch tree, which is natural. A growing trend that is obviously being greatly beneficial to people. The same thing with vitamin D3, you know, same thing with magnesium. So you got to be careful with this industry and what they're putting out here, and understand that is there a increase in heart risk? They actually didn't say nobody had a heart attack based on parameters that somebody put together. Said that it increases blood clots when you do that. Yeah, maybe, I guess it does, but does it outweigh the benefits if you're using it in proper moderation? You be the judge. I'm going to keep taking my xylitol and taking it properly. This is your brother teacher, Ajamu Min Kakafele, saying I love you if you're righteous. Can't stand you if you ain't. Let's all go for it. Be righteous, be more righteous, and eat to live. Peace.